Hello all. So today I'm talking about a Honda with the P0511 code, what it is and how you go about fixing it. So what is a Honda P0511 code? Well, it's an idle air control circuit malfunction. And what does this mean? Well, the idle air control valve controls the idle of the car when it's at a standstill. So if you come up to a stoplight or a stop sign and you let off the gas and you're sitting there, that's what's controlling the idle. And it's seeing the air inside of the circuit that's going to this, so it'd have to be troubleshooted to know why. And some of the causes, it could be the idle air control valve, the harness, it could be an open or a short, or the idle air control valve itself can be bad. And the idle air control valve will be located up by the throttle body. It'll just be a small device. It'll have the harness going to it, and it'll have two coolant lines. And the first thing to check is going to be the wiring. You want to check it. You want to make sure you're getting the voltage going in. You have to get the schematics for your particular Honda, since there can be some variations on what's going on with it. But you should be getting voltage. You should be getting like a 12 volts. You should have like a ground. And you should have like a signal wire going back to the onboard computer. That's pretty common. But like I said, there can be some variations. You just have to get a schematic for your particular year and engine type to know exactly what's going on. But basically, you want to check this harness, be sure it's good, be sure it's got a good connection. You get out a meter, you can check for any opens or shorts or anything along these lines. You can check for any blown fuses that might possibly be on that circuit. And you could even go all the way back to the onboard computer and trace it back to the harness or things like this if it goes that far. Usually when you have this problem, it's going to be a problem right here on this harness. It either got really a lot of grease in it, doesn't have a good connection, these pins aren't pushed all the way in, something along these lines, or possibly a wire got cut somewhere going back inside the engine compartment. That would be the main things to check for. And then, so if you check all the wiring and all the wiring looks good, then very likely you are going to have to change out the idle air control valve. And when you go to replace one of these, though, you have to drain the coolant quite often, or you can put a coolant bucket underneath it and try to catch anything that comes out, because there's two coolant lines on there. But they're pretty simple to swap out. Usually they'll just have 2, maybe 4 bolts. And I'll jump over on Amazon, give you an idea how much they cost. They're pretty low cost items, really. You like 30, 40, 50 bucks. So not really expensive or nothing. And it's usually a pretty simple job. It's not usually too difficult. It will depend on where it's located. Sometimes it can be up behind the throttle body, so you have to take the throttle body off and then get to it. It just varies. Again, you have to Google it for your particular year and engine type for your Honda. But basically, at that point, you would replace the idle air control valve. And so what do you do if you have a Honda with the P0511 code? Well, first thing you do, Google where the idle air control valve is on your particular engine for your year of your Honda. Look at the wiring harness. Be sure it's connected good. Be sure there's no opens or shorts. Be sure all those pins are pushed all the way in. Check everything you can with the wiring. Be sure that's all good. And once you know the wiring's good, then go ahead and replace that idle air control valve, because it's likely just failed in there. And so that's basically it. I just wanted to give a real quick brief overview of how you go about fixing a Honda with the P0511 code. If you have anything to add, please comment down below. If you have any questions, ask me and I'll try to answer them. If this video helps you, please click like, please click subscribe, and have a good day.